In this segment, we like to recognize someone or something that's really awesome. Most people like to give people or places a shout out, and I like to give them a whisper in. Stop rolling your eyes. Stop it. It's not that lame of a name. You try coming up with something more creative. Go ahead. I'll wait. Okay, I'm done. That's what I thought. Whisper in. This week's Whisper in is an Instagram account and a person and fitness studio that I've been following for several years. It's called Jeremy Scott Fitness, and he runs a fitness studio that is in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is not too far from where I live, but I was following him for several years when I lived back in Texas. And he seems, even though I don't know him, like a really cool guy because he's got some Michael Jordan stuff up in his gym and office, and he likes The Office. And he also seems to be pretty reasonable when it comes to expectations on working out and eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle. And he and his wife run the studio, and they seem like they're pretty cool people. So if you're in the Scottsdale area, I highly recommend checking out Jeremy Scott Fitness. And if you're not in the Scottsdale area, I highly recommend checking out Jeremy Scott Fitness for Instagram and his podcast, which is also really cool. So that is today's Whisper In. Okay, for today's Whisper In, and remember, a lot of people like to give shout outs, and I like to give a whisper in. And I already told you to stop rolling your eyes at this name. It's a good name. Whisper In. Today's Whisper In is an Instagram and YouTube account that I've been following, and it is called Finding the Force. And the host of it is Obi Dad Kenobi. And he does a ton of really cool videos on Star Wars focused items such as lightsabers and other collectibles. He also talks a lot about Star Wars rides at parks like Disney, and it is a really fun and cool account. The guy seems pretty neat, and he's even answered a couple of my questions about the lightsaber that I bought sitting behind me. Finding the Force, Instagram and YouTube. Today's Whisper In. Check them out. Okay, so for today's Whisper In, we're going to talk about something that is absolutely amazing. And it's not a place or it's not a person, but it's a food. And it is called a Cara Cara orange. It is one of the best things that you can ever taste in your entire universe. It is a navel orange. It is super bright and wonderful in color. And also, it is super bright and sweet, and it is not too acidic. It is a fruit that is found most frequently in its best state in the wintertime, sometime between November, December, all the way through March and April. It is an absolute delight, and the first time that I experienced this was when I was cooking at a restaurant, and we used Cara Cara oranges to make a salad, and then also use the juice to make a vinaigrette. I would highly recommend that you move your butt, and then I would also highly recommend that you move your butt over to a grocery store in the wintertime and get some Cara Cara oranges. They are today's Whisper In. Okay, today's Whisper In is a really great Instagram account, YouTube channel, website, and podcast. The guy's name is Andrew, and his podcast is called The Personal Finance Podcast. His YouTube channel and website and Instagram account is Master Money Co, mastermoneyco.com. And he talks a lot in very digestible, bite-sized pieces about basic personal finance 101, about what types of investments you should be making, 401k, 529. But we were just talking about re-amortizing or recasting a mortgage, refinancing, types of stocks
and ETFs to invest in. Really, really good. He's a young guy, very digestible, very bite-sized pieces. His podcast is great. I've been listening to him for a little over a year now. Really good stuff. He always updating his Instagram and his YouTube channel. So his name is Andrew. The Personal Finance Podcast is the name of the podcast. His Instagram handle and YouTube channel and website is Master Money. Master Money CO. Master Money CO with Andrew. Today's Whisper In. Okay, today's Whisper In is an Instagram account that I have been following for about a year. The woman's name is Grace, and her Instagram account is called With Coach Grace. And her message on her account says that she helps serial procrastinators find focus by going to the root cause beyond time management. And I've really enjoyed following her and consuming her content because she really does talk about how it's more than just not budgeting your time well, and how being patient with yourself and giving yourself some grace can go a long way in understanding what the problem is and how the solution is just simple, slow, incremental change. Very positive information, very uplifting. With Coach Grace on Instagram. Today's Whisper In. Okay, today's Whisper In is going to keep with the culinary theme. This is a book. If you are watching on YouTube, our YouTube channel, you can see it. If you're not watching and you're listening, because most of the time podcast is an audio medium, if you're listening, the name of the book is called Culinary Artistry. And it is one of the amazing books, the most amazing books that I have ever read regarding food. The authors are Andrew Dorenberg and Karen Page. And the reason that I love this book so much is because they break out the culinary aspects of the book, not only by showing different famous chefs and different menus that they've put together using ingredients, but they break out all the different ingredients, whether it's spices or foods or vegetables or proteins, and then underneath that, they show you everything that matches with that. For example, I just flipped opening the book and it has a page that says seasoning matches made in heaven, and it shows the anchovy, and under the anchovy it says this goes best with Caesar salad, pizza, potatoes, puttanesca, tapenade. Now that's not the only things, but that gives you an idea if you're looking to put together a recipe or flavor profiles. It's really interesting. Another example, they have sea bass listed. They tell you what time of year you want to serve it in, wintertime or springtime. And then they list about 30 ingredients that go well with sea bass. So stuff like cumin, garlic, ginger, shallots, rosemary. And they also tell you the best ways you can prepare the sea bass. You can bake it, braise it, grill it, poach it, roast it, saute it. And it gives you some references for recipes. It's a very simple book to digest. It is fantastic. And every time I get myself in a rut and I can't figure out what to cook, this book does the trick because it gives me a jumping off point for various different flavor profiles with different types of food. Or if I get stuck, if I have maybe a nice piece of venison and I'm kind of scratching my head on what to cook it with, I can open this up and it will tell me everything I should cook with it, the seasonings I should use, different vegetables that go well, different greens that go well with it. It's an outstanding book. It is called Culinary Artistry. It is by Andrew Dorenberg and Karen Page. They are James Beard Award-winning authors. And that is today's Whisper In.
Whisper In. And today's Whisper In is going to be for people that live closer to where I live, which is in the Phoenix, Arizona area. There is a liquor store, and it is not like other liquor stores. It is the greatest liquor store I have ever been in. And even if you don't live in the Phoenix area, you will want to hear this. The name of this liquor store is called Trevor's. It is the most unbelievable place I have been into because when you walk in, not only is it one of the nicest liquor stores you've ever been in, with one of the best selections you've ever been in, but that is only less than half of the story, because at the back of the liquor store, which is one of the nicest liquor stores we've been in the back is a fully glassed in cigar lounge that is also a full service bar and restaurant, which is also one of the nicest places you will enjoy a cigar. It has giant glass windows facing the inside, and on the outside it has the roller garage doors to open up to the fresh air. That is awesome. But again, that's not the half of it. The other literal half of the establishment is a multiple bar setup with great craft cocktails and bourbons and all of that stuff, which I love. Right behind that is a kitchen with a pizza oven, and they make fresh pizzas and sandwiches and charcuterie boards, which I love. And then behind that are two giant PGA approved golf simulator bays with TVs and couches and chairs and full service of bar and restaurant, which I love. And then on the other side is a giant patio with more TVs and a built-in fireplace and a bunch of great seating and great views of the mountains, which I love. So, if you live in the Phoenix or Scottsdale area, you need to go to Trevor's. It is the greatest place in the world. And if you do not live in the Phoenix or Scottsdale area, you need to take an airplane here and go to Trevor's and then do some golf while you're at it. Trevor's, today's Whisper In. Okay, for today's Whisper In, I am talking about an Instagram account and podcast that I've been following for probably 6 months. It is called Whiskey Noobs. And the guy that handles this is a very balanced and very appropriately opinionated when it comes to giving thoughts on whiskeys and bourbons. Now, I love bourbons, and I love some of the big brands, and I like some of the more obscure ones as well. But this guy does a really great job of giving you an unbiased opinion on different things, different categories, and he also does a lot of blind tastings with different whiskeys and different bourbons and gives you his honest opinion. And I think people gravitate towards wanting an unbiased opinion because you can realize that there isn't a right or wrong answer with the different types of whiskey or bourbon that you like. It is just things that you like or do not like. So I highly recommend checking out the Whiskey Noobs Instagram and podcast account. It is excellent if you like whiskey. Even if you think you know what you're talking about, it's still great to have another resource to remind you of something or to encourage you to try something else. So Whiskey Noobs, that is today's Whisper In. Okay, now it's time for this week's Whisper In. And this week is an Instagram account that I absolutely love, and it's called Pizza of Art. Pizzofart. Kind of like pizza art, piece of art. And I love this because if anybody knows me, you know that my first, second, and third favorite food is pizza. I
pizza. And this account, the guy who runs this and posts all these videos, is absolutely awesome because he makes absolutely killer pizzas out of his regular oven at home. And what I think is really great about that for the average person is that you don't need to have a bunch of fancy equipment to make a really great pizza. And it's not that hard to do. I was intimidated by making pizza dough and by working with pizza dough and by trying to flatten it out and use my hands to stretch out the pizza dough. But once you get over that fear of ruining a pizza dough ball, then it's no big deal and you can really have fun. And this account, Pizza of Art, does a great job in showing a whole bunch of great pizzas and very easy recipes. And there's links to products to help with that and equipment to help with that. So I highly recommend checking out Pizza of Art on Instagram, on YouTube, also on Facebook. This week's Whisper In Pizza of Art Instagram account. Okay, for this week's Whisper In, I have an Instagram account that I have been following for a few months, but the person who is responsible for this account is someone that I've been following for years. The name of the account is called House and Home Design, and the person responsible, the founder and the interior designer and TV host, is Carissa Thompson. And I discovered her about 5 to 7 years ago as a sportscaster and sports host and sideline reporter, and I think she does a great job on all of those things. And she's fun, and she is very famous and popular, and she has a podcast with Aaron Andrews called Calm Down, which is really, really popular and does exceedingly well. But she also has this account called House and Home Design, where the focus is on interior design for the house. And as I get a little bit older and have a little bit more of an idea of what I would like the design of our house to be and thoughts about that, this account gives a great perspective on really completing the look from A to Z, on filling out your space, whether it's a bedroom or your kitchen or an entryway or decorating for the holidays or whatever it is. So I highly recommend you check out this Instagram account, House and Home Design. It has been very helpful and useful for me to look at and get design ideas, and it's super fun to look at. So that is this week's Whisper In. Okay, this week, the Whisper In is someone that is a very, very, very talented comedian and content creator that I have been following for several years. He's from Canada, and I have a flannel shirt on, so already this is perfect. His name is Ryan George, and he is probably most well known for his YouTube series called Pitch Meeting. And every week he has like a 5-minute YouTube video where he plays 2 different characters, a studio movie executive and a studio director that is pitching a movie to the studio. And it's really funny because it breaks down how silly and ridiculous a lot of these movies are, and how giant some of these plot holes in movies are, and how stupid some of these giant media companies can be making poor decisions about the movie. And it's really, really funny. And he does a great job of pointing that stuff out in a humorous way that doesn't degrade or do anything negative to the creators or the people working on it, but really kind of shines a light on what it is. He's got a ton of other skits, and he's been around for a long time. He's got a lot of great stuff, but his pitch meetings are so funny. I will watch them over and over if I just need a laugh, or if I have to have a quick lunch or something and I want to watch
So his name is Ryan George. He's from Canada. And his how about that? His stuff is called Pitch Meeting. Go check it out on YouTube. This week's Whisper In.